My name is Sam. I work for Hydroponic Research. I'm the Irrigation Specialist Account Manager. Today we're here to set up some irrigation, talk about some tactics. We're meeting here with Omar from Rivulis, and we're going to run you guys through how to set up a room and how to feed your plants properly.
My name's Omar Alcantara. I'm with Rivulis Irrigation. I head the indoor cultivation department, and today we're going to talk about some irrigation products, but not only that, some common practices, how to save on some labor, and what our products have differently than everybody else, and why growers should consider using my products. The traditional assembly, you'll typically find the old school type style state, right? And I shouldn't say old school, I probably should say traditional, right? This is what we used to use, but the upgrade to this little guy is the assembly that we make. It's the Rivulis style assembly is what made us so famous, is that we have a side outlet dripper, which makes it flexible on the bench. And then another thing that it does is not only does it have a little bit stronger tubing, but on the snap peg you can actually take this guy on and off without a problem, right? So if you need to shorten it or lengthen it, you could do that. On the traditional one, I mean, I don't have to tell growers, right? This is pretty tough to take out. On the maintenance aspect of it, you'll sometimes see like totes in a facility where they're full of these things, and then they use a cleaner to clean these out. It's got a little knob that will collect residue in the tubing, where the snap peg is just a free flow, right? Nevertheless, you can see there's a little window there, right, where you can actually see the droplets, and see it while it's watering, while it's working. So you don't have to pick one of these up or put into a little catch can, right? Typically you have to take this one off the plant in order for it to see. So if you look at here, right, you'll see two different styles. You'll have to pick this one up versus seeing the snap peg in action, right? And one of the best things about it is that it's just easy. It's easy to use, and it's flexible on the bench. When you look at a style like this, on the traditional one, you can see it kinks, right? After a while, the tubing start kinking. Doesn't matter which one it is. We make the style as well, right? For folks that like to use this style, but the snap peg is the way to go. On this bench here, we have a few components to show you. We make the traditional one with a snap peg if you want it, or we can make the side outlet with a snap peg. And then also the fittings that you see on this table, you'll see T's, you'll see flush valves, you'll see all the components that you need to build an actual irrigation table, right? So we can cover all of that. The color of the dripper defines the flow rate. So a brown, the outer shell means it opens up at 9.5 psi all the way up to 50, and the brown in the inside defines the flow rate. So this would be a half a gallon per hour dripper, a 0.53, right? If you were using a brown on the outside, gray on the inside, you would be using a 0.29 gallon per hour dripper as well. And that's pretty much it. We can touch on the irrigation control valve and its components, and we can show you how they work. So an irrigation control valve will automate, give you the ability to automate your system, right? You can use a DC latch-in solenoid to make it battery operated, or you can actually use a irrigation controller, just something that waters in seconds. It would be your valve, your filter, and then your regulator, right? The valve would turn on and off the system automatically. The filter would clean anything that's dirty coming into the system. And then your pressure regulator, it's gonna regulate to where that pressure, where that dripper likes to work at, typically between 9.5 and 50 PSI. So anywhere in the middle, you'll be fine. This filtration is common practice for an irrigation control system, right? And so we actually like you to use the red, right? Because that's the one that's going to protect our drippers the best. And you see a couple pressure gauges up here. One is upstream and this is downstream. So on the Rivulis disc filtration, this filter gives you the ability to see what the incoming pressure is, so we can keep the pump honest, right? So if you preset it at 50 psi, right, and then you're getting reading 45 here, now you already know that we've lost 5 psi coming into the system. But when do you service it? A lot of the guys will typically say like, okay, so I'm going to service it once a day, once every other day. You have a routine, right? This pressure regulator here, it's going to give you the ability to service your filter without having to take it apart. So whenever you find pressure differential between 3 and 5 psi, it's time to clean your filtration. Your pressure regulator is always installed after the filter, so you don't collect anything in this little dude, right? And your system's always going to work properly. That's pretty much how an irrigation control valve works. So the pump is preset at 36 psi, right? And that's within working pressure for the drippers. But when should you use a pressure regulator versus not? So typically, if you're going to run multiple benches at the same time and then you're going to kick them on, you'll start losing pressure, right? Once you start kicking those benches in. And so what you want to do is you want to have a pressure regulator at the bench, right? So you can preset your pump at a set pressure rate, right? So you don't have to keep managing table by table. You just do it all at once. You know what I mean? So it's just simple. It's simpler for the grower to have to not manage that part, because what's going to happen is, let's say I set it at 80 psi, right, or 70 psi, and I'm pumping 70 psi into the bench. Then that means like we're over pressuring on those drippers, and it doesn't mean that the dripper's just going to pop out of the tubing. It only means that it's not going to give you the proper amount of water, right? Because we're running over the operating pressure of that dripper. So we have to worry about two things. Pressure, you can preset at the pump, right? And flow, it's what we're actually going to be running in the table. So at this point, we're running almost a gallon per minute, right? We're like at 0.7. And so we should be good when it comes to using your pump.
So initially setting up your rooms with good equipment that's going to be reliable for you is paramount to the success of these rooms. It can take away a lot of the variables and the question marks you have of whether you're watering your plants evenly or correctly, whether you have to worry about the tools you installed degrading or breaking over time. Working with good companies like Rivulis that stand by their product, that will make sure that everything's set up initially perfectly, so that the rest of the job is up to you to really dial it in. If you're looking to find more of this information, videos and other things, you can go to hydroponicresearch.com. There's some YouTube videos, Instagram, you can find all the info you need there.
If you want to get a hold of me, just go ahead and there's going to be a tag on the Instagram. Just give me a shout and we'll get back to you, help you out.